Hi, I'm Lanny, and this is Preserving Today. Okay, today I want to talk about how I make pickling spice. Pickling spice is easy to find at the store already mixed, but each pickling spice could be different, either different ratios of the spices in it or different spices altogether. And a little tweak in the recipe can make a big difference. I bought a big batch of pickling spice from the bulk section at my local co-op. I made over 5 gallons of fermented dill pickles with all the cucumbers we grew last season, and it turned out I wasn't crazy about the flavor of the pickling spice. They used big chunks of cinnamon and allspice berries. It wasn't what I wanted out of my pickles. So I decided I would be making my own pickling spice from now on, using some basic ingredients and spices that I already had on hand, and up-leveling things a little bit by toasting the spices. Pickling spice usually has certain seed spices in common. That would be dill seed, coriander seed, black peppercorns, yellow mustard seed, bay leaf, and sometimes chili flakes. Other common ingredients are allspice berries and cinnamon stick. Some people even use dry dill weed as well. For this spice mix, I'm going to use equal parts coriander seed, black peppercorn, and mustard seed. And I'm actually going to be toasting these spices before I mix them with the other spices in this recipe. I have a small cast iron skillet that I've preheated over medium-low heat, and I'm just adding these spices in. And toasting spices can be tricky because it goes really fast, and when you get to the perfect sweet spot of toasted, just past that is burned and ruined. So kind of like the ripeness of an avocado, there's a delicate dance here we have to do to make sure we don't burn these seed spices. So don't walk away from this when it's on the stove. But we do have the telltale sign of the mustard seeds. The mustard seeds will start to pop and jump and escape the pan when they're done. So I'm looking for that moment and taking it off the heat at that time. Of course, the whole time I'm cooking these, I'm shaking the pan and stirring them gently. After these are toasted, I'm setting them aside to cool, and I'm going to gather the rest of the ingredients. I'm using chili flakes, just a bit. I'm using dill seed, and then dry bay leaf, which I break up with my hand. I'm eyeballing it. I'm doing a big pinch of that. You can't really use too many bay leaves. Now is where I'm going to use my mortar and pestle. But if you don't have one or you don't like the labor, you can definitely use a spice grinder, a coffee grinder, or a food processor for this part. Now that the coriander, mustard seed, peppercorns are toasted and cooled, make sure you have them completely cooled before you grind them. We're going to grind them up with the other spices. So add everything to the mortar and pestle and just smash it. Now these things don't have to be ground into a powder, they just need to be cracked open. That's why I don't bother dirtying my spice grinder for this project, and I just use my mortar and pestle. Okay, after I've cracked it open sufficiently, things are smelling really nice, and I'm done. Here's the actual recipe I did for this small batch. Now when I'm using this spice, I'll use it in pickles, either fermented or vinegar pickles, use it in my dilly beans, and fermenting many other kinds of vegetables. The other flavors that go along with this when you're making pickles are usually garlic and fresh dill, but even if you don't have the fresh dill, the dill seed in this recipe will give it a great dill flavor. Linked in the description are some other videos that I've done using this pickling spice, like my fermented dilly beans, and you can check out preservingtoday.com for my recipe for how I make fermented dill pickles. Video coming soon. That's it for today. This is how I make my homemade toasted pickling spice. Keep it in an airtight container in your pantry, and this should last you a long time. I'm Lanny, and this was Preserving Today.